I mean, this whole entire World Cup has just gone so terribly, horribly wrong for a Real Madrid fan. I think for Real Madrid fans in general, but I mean, wow. Wow. France, hello? Are you there? England, hello? What the F happened? I mean, I genuinely thought those two teams could have gotten to the final, but I thought at least one of them will make it. Will make it. I thought, especially France, right? I spoke about in the last couple of videos, and look, I hold my hands up. I apologize to Spain. I was not familiar with your game. I hold my hands up, and I apologize for what I said back in the day, a few days ago, about Spain not being that kind of team that will be ruthless, that will score goals, that will cause too much attacking problems. Because the truth is, whilst they don't have an out and out number 9, whilst they don't have a player who's going to be scoring them, 10 goals in the World Cup, there's unity, there's teamwork. And I suppose that was an aspect that separated France and Spain. And that is only the first part of today's video. France. You know, I I had high hopes for them. I didn't I didn't think they'll win this year's World Cup, and to be honest, like what I think doesn't mean anything because I thought Portugal were gonna win it. But I thought as soon as Portugal went out and the tournament continued on and we got into the quarterfinals, heading into the semifinals, I thought France looked the best team in the World Cup in the tournament. What they did um, in some of the other games, they were ruthless. They had the attack. They finally found that balance between attack and defense. The midfield was holding up nicely. The defense was doing pretty well. But most importantly, the attack. Even if they were conceding goals, they were scoring more. And I mean more. Which is why I thought, you're playing against a Spain side that don't tend to score goals, plus a France side that do score a lot of goals. It's on paper a mismatch. But no, France did nothing going forward. It wasn't even a case of France turning up and getting unlucky or anything. It was genuinely just the worst game I think I've ever seen from a top nation. Like, think about all the top nations. I don't remember a game from Spain, from Argentina, from even Brazil, from even Germany, from even Portugal. Like, I don't remember a game from those nations, those countries, that was as poor a performance but also as big a letdown in terms of the hope, the optimism, the expectation compared to the reality and what you got. Like, genuinely, I haven't seen a game where it has been night and day from expectation to reality like that. And France have somehow did it. Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, Doué, Barcola, like, where were they? None of them were there. They were gone. They were non-existent. And Spain, they don't have Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, Barcola, Doué, but they have a team. A team. And take away the penalty, they still would have scored. They still would have won. Because, like I said, it's not about the French being unlucky or, a misfortune. Genuinely, even if it was 0-0 going into extra time, take away the 2 goals from Spain, right? Let's hypothetically speaking, we minus the 2 goals away. Spain would have still won in extra time. And okay, if they don't win in extra time, they would have won in penalties. Because you just felt from the first 10-15 minutes that they were the team that were playing as a team. They were the hungry side that wanted to reach the final. Some of the movement, some of the passing from France, it felt like this was a friendly game. It didn't feel like for them it's a semi-final with a lot on the line. And maybe it's inexperienced. A lot of these guys are young. They are, maybe in their first World Cup, but certainly as a group, you take away Griezmann, Lloris, Giroud. Some of these guys, these older guys, have retired from the national team and they've moved on, and the newer players come in as leaders. And this isn't at Mbappe specifically or directly at him, but I look at the other leaders. Like Dembele isn't a young guy anymore. He's like what, he's older than Mbappe, isn't he? Right? Dembele is 30, isn't he? Right? Dembele is a senior player. There are other players in that team. Rabiot. I expect the likes of Chouameni, Koundé, Upamecano, Maignan. Like, these are guys who have played at World Cups before. I expect them to have the knowledge, the experience, the know-how as to how to deal with these sort of games and moments. And none of them delivered. Not a single French player delivered. It was that poor, that pathetic. Again, kudos to Spain. They deserve to make it to the final, which will be played tomorrow. Tonight will be the third place game, which should have been the final before a ball was kicked, but it wasn't, and it isn't. But yeah, Spain did well, and that's that. And then after such a travesty, we thought, okay, the next night we're gonna get something right. We're gonna get a bit of, difference the next night with England. And then they fumbled themselves. They fumbled. By the way, live on X right now, Morgan Rogers, because he has just joined Chelsea, which is the most random thing ever. I'm recording this on Saturday night, so, But England. What on earth? They went 1-0 up, and they deserved to go 1-0 up, I would say. But it never felt like they were in control at any point of the game. And the moment they decided not to kill off the game and make it 2-0, it was just written in the stars that Argentina were gonna come back and win. Like, people have already talked about this, so I'm not gonna talk about it. The subs from England, like going defensive so early and putting the pressure on ourselves, like these sort of stuff, like we know about. So there's not really much to talk about there, but gutted, man. Just gutted. I mean, what else do we even say? What else do we even say? These two teams, France and England, they're playing for the third place tonight. Like, it's a game that no one wants to play. But ultimately, neither team, with different reasons, but neither team deserve to be in the final. I think France as a team, as a squad, don't deserve to be in it. I think England probably a bit hard done by in terms of the manager, Tuchel, making those changes. But if you win as a team. You lose as a team, right? Like, the players themselves didn't perform particularly well either in terms of that final stretch of the game. It felt like they got nervous and they just couldn't deal with the pressure that Argentina were piling on them. But that pressure was added on even more by the manager making those subs. So that didn't help either. But both of these teams, France and England, they should have been in the final, but they don't deserve to be in it with no fault but their own. Absolutely no fault but their own. They don't deserve to be in the final. So look, I'm gonna end off with this. Before the World Cup, my prediction was Sweden to do well and be a dark horse to reach the semi-finals. They did terribly in the group, and they played France, and they lost, of course. I had Brazil making it to the final. They did terribly against Norway, who then lost to England, who then lost to Argentina. I had Portugal winning it, and they couldn't beat Spain, who are the finalists. And they definitely could have beaten Spain as well. By the way, I'm just saying. After that, I was rooting so long, like Neymar, Vini, okay, Ronaldo, okay, Mbappe, no, okay, Bellingham. Look, for the final, I'm going to be supporting the stadium. Okay, the referee. Okay, I'm gonna support the referee to win. Okay, but honestly though, like, if I had to pick one, Marco Cucurella, go and bring it home. Okay, the new Real Madrid signing, Cucurella, go and bring it home. Anyways, that's that. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, hit the button, subscribe to the channel if it's on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.